Hello, this is Dave talking here on GB Gaming, where video games come first. And I was going to wait until another week after my last podcast episode to do this one, but because of, and I was going to talk about this topic already, but I figured probably best if I talk about it now and get it over with because it's fresh in everyone's mind. The conversation is very much relevant. I don't know where we're going to be on Monday if something else gets announced further, so I might as well just talk about this right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the PlayStation event, the reveal event. I'm going to talk about the games that came out for it, or that are coming out for it, and then I'll talk about the console itself after I've talked about the games. So first of all, I want to talk about the games in order that they were announced. So with that, the first game I'm going to talk about is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if this is going to be just a brand new piece of DLC for Spider-Man the game. It doesn't seem like it will be because this has been announced for the PS5. It wouldn't make much sense to reveal downloadable content for a PS4 game on a PlayStation 5 reveal event. That would be really weird. I'm only saying this because I think Greg Miller said that it might be on it might be part of the original story of or DLC for the original Spider-Man game. Oh, by the way, Greg Miller, in case you don't know, he's already on Kinda Funny Games Daily, Kinda Funny Games. You can look him up. He used to be on IGN years ago. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who he is. But anyway, he said that the Spider-Man Miles Morales could be DLC for the original Spider-Man game for the PS4. It probably won't be because it doesn't make sense to have this on the PlayStation 5 reveal trailer unless they're going to bring Spider-Man onto the PS5, which again would be weird considering they never mentioned the original Spider-Man game on PS4 coming to PS5. So I'm just going to just assume that this game is coming to PS5 and it's a brand new Spider-Man game because, spoiler alert, if you haven't played the original Spider-Man game, the ending revealed I think it was this game. Maybe I'm thinking of a movie, but I think it was this game that at the very end, Miles Morales was teased to be the next Spider-Man, which makes sense because in comic book lore that happens. But obviously it's told a different way on this PlayStation 4 video game, so very much looking forward to that. Obviously there was no gameplay reveal. Well, there was gameplay, but it very much looks like the same as the original Spider-Man game, the previous game. So I'm expecting it to play just as well, if not better, with brand new features. I can't wait for it personally. So that's definitely going to be a purchase for me when it comes out. It's coming out in holiday 2020, which is around Christmas time. So hopefully it maintains that date and that it doesn't change or get delayed. That would be a nice Christmas present to get with the PS5, should I decide to get one around then. So yeah, can't wait for that one. The next game they announced was Gran Turismo 7. Now, my opinion on Gran Turismo it's never been bad. I've never hated Gran Turismo, but ever since I first played the Forza franchise, my love for Gran Turismo has withered down a notch. I don't know what it is. There's something about Gran Turismo that's just, there's something about it that doesn't feel quite right. In my personal opinion, the last great Gran Turismo game that I played was Gran Turismo 3. Now, Gran Turismo 4 was good, but I think Gran Turismo 3 was just a little bit better. Now, there's one thing about Gran Turismo that I don't like, and it's such a minor complaint. Nobody talks about this. I certainly never really bring it up. It's just always been a problem that I've had in a lot of driving games, not just Gran Turismo, but Gran Turismo in particular is where I started to notice this and didn't like it that much. It's such a strange complaint, but it's the camera position behind the car as you're driving on the third person perspective. If you look at Gran Turismo 3, just go to YouTube, look up gameplay footage of Gran Turismo 3 of someone actually playing the game, and just look at the way the camera follows the car. It's very typical of a lot of good driving games that the camera doesn't. Okay, let me just go straight into Gran Turismo 4. In Gran Turismo 4, this was the first Gran Turismo game where the camera stays static behind the car. Not only is it static, but it actually follows the car with every turn. You don't see the car turning with the camera maintaining its position a notch. I'm pretty sure, I hope you know what I'm talking about, but if you go and look at Gran Turismo 3 and then go and look at Gran Turismo 4, the camera being really static behind the car was definitely a turn off for me. And it doesn't help that they have this. Now, like, Polyphony Digital allows you to, like, Gran Turismo allows you to change that in the settings, but even when you change it, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel quite right. And that was one of the... See, it was... I don't get motion sickness. In fact, I probably don't even know the definition of motion sickness. I've probably had it. But what I'm basically saying is, when I started playing Gran Turismo 4, I was starting to get a little bit of a headache playing it because the camera was stuck to the back of the car. Doesn't matter what way you're turning, the camera stays right behind it. And it's almost like it's on a dolly, just staying there. It doesn't let the car freely turn without changing the cam. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's why, one of the reasons why I stopped playing Gran Turismo games, because it gave me a headache playing those games going forward. Now, in retrospect, sounds like a silly fucking decision to stop playing a racing series. But truth be told, I actually haven't sat down to play a Gran Turismo game properly since Gran Turismo 3, and I suppose to an extent Gran Turismo 4, but Gran Turismo 3 was my last favourite Gran Turismo game. Now with Gran Turismo 7, comparing it to Gran Turismo 6 or Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo 5 before it, there doesn't seem to be that much different in regards to interface. It looks the very same. Nothing has really changed in that regard. It honestly, I don't know why they take so long to make a new Gran Turismo game when they seem to just be... I hate saying this because it's such a cliche thing to say for any sports game. It does just seem like a new game with a couple of... It seems like the same game with a couple of extra features tacked onto it. It sounds very ignorant. I know I'm probably wrong, but nothing about Gran Turismo in today's generation or any generation going forward is going to hook me or bring me in to that game or even give me any interest. So Gran Turismo 7 is definitely that game. I'll probably try it. God knows, I'll probably buy it. Maybe if it's on PlayStation Now, if that service continues into the PS5, maybe I will get an account, and if it's available there, I will download it and try it out that way. But buying it, I do not know. Gran Turismo is usually my go-to racing game on a PlayStation platform, but I haven't really had any interest in playing a racing game on a PlayStation platform since the PS2. Or since MotorStorm on PS3. But in terms of Gran Turismo, I don't know what they could possibly do to improve on it, but if they could please loosen the camera a little bit, or at least give us the option to loosen it ourselves in a better way than has been given to us prior. It's such a silly complaint. I can't believe I spent about 5 minutes talking about this, but there you are. All in all, I'm not really excited about Gran Turismo 7. I'm glad it's coming out. I'm glad that the series is still going. But in my books, Forza is miles better. Moving on to the next game. The next game revealed was, I think, Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, I don't know anything about the Ratchet and Clank franchise. I've not played the PS2 games, but I have got the PS4 remaster, or remake as it were. I do have the remaster on PS4. I've only played a small percentage of it. It's really good as far as platformers go. It's fantastic. I don't know why I stopped playing it. like I've always said on prior videos, I've got a short attention span. But Ratchet and Clank, this one looks really good. I don't know if it's a remake of the second one. I think the guy said that this is a new Ratchet and Clank experience made from the ground up. He didn't say anything about remake, he didn't say anything about remaster. But it makes me think, if they were able to... I don't know the story of the remake of Ratchet and Clank. If someone wants to inform me, was the remake of Ratchet and Clank a retelling of the first one and Rift Apart as the sequel to that remake? Or was Ratchet and Clank on PS4 just a nice remake of the original game for fans of the game and new players alike? Like, just something that they made. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Is Rift Apart a sequel to the PS4 Ratchet and Clank, or is it just a new game entirely? A sequel to the last canon Ratchet and Clank game? I don't know. But this one looks really good. See, I don't know what's special about Ratchet and Clank yet, even though I have said that I've played the original or the remake on PS4. I don't remember what the goal is. Nothing's stuck. I've actually been more interested in looking at Jak and Daxter lately, but that's a story for another piece of media. But I am quite excited to see what more of this Ratchet and Clank game. But I wish that the original games were released on modern platforms as well, in some form. The next game, really curious about. It doesn't seem to have a name yet. I mean, this whole Project Athia thing, that was the next game that they showed. Now, it's called Project Athia in the trailer. I don't know if that's going to be the full name of the game. It's published by Square Enix, and it's made or produced by Luminous Productions. I don't know if those are the developers. They're a subsidiary of Square Enix. They published Final Fantasy VII for the Stadia, the Google Stadia, and they are working on Project Athia for the PlayStation 5 and Windows PC. It might not be a Final Fantasy game, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. It might not be though, because I can't imagine Luminous Productions being the primary developer for Final Fantasy games. Now, having said that, according to their Wikipedia page, it says here, the aim of the company is to create new AAA video games for a global audience using the engine. Now, if Final Fantasy 16 is going to get made, who's going to develop it? Because it says here that Final Fantasy 15 was made by the Square Enix business division, which is basically just a part of Square Enix's in-house. It was in-house at Square Enix. Like, it was just their own game by their own company, published and developed. Since Luminous Productions is a subsidiary of Square Enix, maybe it's a chance that Project Aria, if that's what it's called, is going to be Final Fantasy 16. It could be. Or it could be called Athia or Project Athia. But this whole project thing, I want to believe it could be Final Fantasy 16. Because Final Fantasy 15 didn't have a final name for years. Neither did Final Fantasy 13. I don't think. It says here it's designed exclusively for the PS5, but it's also coming to Windows PC. I don't know, it doesn't say it's coming to Xbox, and that's the part that's making me think it might not be a Final Fantasy game, because Final Fantasy is available on all platforms. It's always been available, well, it hasn't always been available on all platforms, but the last 5 games, I want to believe, are available on all platforms, as well as 7, 8 and 9. So the fact that if this is Final Fantasy 16, it doesn't make sense for it to be exclusive on PS4 unless it's a timed exclusive. It's interesting. Then again, it could just be Project Aria. But Athia, sorry, not Aria. But according to this, it does say working title. So it might not keep that name. It's very curious though. It could be Final Fantasy 16 or a Final Fantasy game. Maybe it's a Final Fantasy online game. Who knows? It is curious though. Very curious. In fact, maybe if I look at the... No, do you know what? I really don't know. My guess is it's a Final Fantasy game of some kind. My biggest guess would be, or my biggest, my most, what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck's sake, I'm blanking on words here. My most out there guess would be Final Fantasy 16. Because it could be. I mean, people like to use working titles for their games and then surprise us when the game is actually something that we're familiar with. The next game after this, though, after Project Athia, was a game called, what was it? Feline? No, not Feline. What was it called? That cat game with the robots. They moved on to another game by Anna Parum. I'm not very good at names. Stray. Not Feline. Stray. Very unique looking game. Looks very dense. I know it's a cutscene, but I love cutscenes that look like this. Very dense cutscenes, very alive communities, and a very unique citizenship or unique crowd of individuals living in this area. They all seem to be humans with robots for heads. Like, they're robots, but they act and behave like humans. And not only that, like, they have jobs like humans, they behave like humans. You see homeless variations of them. So it's strange. But there's this cat that wanders around during the cutscene as well, which I find quite bizarre and interesting. The game is called Stray. I'm assuming you control the cat. But personally, I think I would like to control one of the robots. Now, there is a part in this trailer that, if you pay a close attention to, specifically the guy that's talking to another guy over a counter, if you look at the right side of that shop, just underneath all the post-it notes, there is a little sign that says "No cats." So I don't know what that means, but it seems to say no cats. It suggests that anyway. So I'm really curious to see what this game is. It's called Stray, and I'm very much interested in seeing more of it. It's coming out in 2021, so it'll be a while before we see another trailer for it, I reckon. My guess is it'll come out around spring or summer 2021. But it looks interesting. And then they went on to talk about the new DualSense controller. I'm going to give my opinion on the DualSense controller right now. I don't like it. Not from a aesthetic standpoint. Apart from the fact that it is white and black, I think that's a very silly colour design. But when you get to the actual PS5 itself, it makes sense. But in regards to its functions, the things that it can do, I'm really bothered by them because... Now, unless they're able to find a way to alleviate the bad battery life that was on the DualShock 4, I will be happy to ignore that if it's improved on this one. But as far as I'm concerned, it just looks like more gimmicks are being thrown onto this controller than there needs to be. Like, what is this? Haptic feedback. Okay, that's a new version of vibration. I think the Xbox One controller has it, especially in racing games. If you play Forza with an Xbox One controller, you can, like, if you brake with the left trigger, the vibration will vibrate more towards that side of the controller, and vice versa when you're accelerating or something like that. That's unique, but that's subtle. But with this one, it's not only haptic feedback, they're also including adaptive triggers and a microphone, and the light bar has definitely not went away. A motion sensor, which has always been there since the PS3's DualShock controller, you know what I mean? All these, what's this, 3D audio? I'm assuming that's for the speaker itself. Don't know why it's advertising that. But the DualSense controller it's not good in my books because it just looks like all of this stuff has been shoved onto this controller to just use up more battery yet again. I mean, yeah, it's probably an improvement battery-wise from the DualShock 4, but you've improved the battery and then you've added more gimmicks to it. Thus, the battery life will probably just feel the same as that of the DualShock 4. I mean, am I the only one thinking this? But from a aesthetic standpoint, though, I'll get over the white and black two-tone, but in regards to how its shape is, I'm really excited to see how it feels. I love experiencing new controllers. I love it when they change them up a bit. I do still believe in if it's not broke, don't fix it, but there's no harm in changing up the look of it just a notch, but keeping its core aesthetic kind of still there, its signature aesthetic. Like, you know, the position of the analog sticks is something that a lot of people have a problem with. Especially non-PlayStation fans, you know, people that play either multiple consoles or consoles that are not PlayStation. The modern controller nowadays is usually the offset analog sticks, where the Xbox controller and the Nintendo Switch controller are designed based on, where the left analog stick is up where the PS4's D-pad would be, for example, and the D-pad is where the Xbox's analog stick. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the offset controllers. Those are very beloved nowadays, and people are a little bit baffled as to why Sony keep the symmetrical analog sticks that are on their controllers. And I have two reasons for it. One, we are PlayStation fans. We are used to this design. We are used to these controllers. And two, it's branding. That's what a PlayStation controller looks like. There's no need to change it. You have options. I mean, Sony have patented plenty of third-party controllers, such as the Revolution Pro controller, which I think is designed the same way as an offset controller, like an Xbox One controller, or a Switch controller, or anything like that. And it's still a PlayStation controller. So there are options out there. You don't have to get this controller. But then again, if you don't like the PS4 controller, you're probably not using one. But I digress. Another thing I really like about the PS5 as well, even though I haven't while we're talking on the subject of controllers, is that if you don't like the DualSense controller, you can still use your DualShock 4 on the PS5 and it will be fully functional on it. The only thing it won't do is it won't use any of the brand new gimmicks that are on the DualSense, such as the haptic feedback and all that jazz. As I'm talking about it right now, if I was to use a DualShock 4 and prefer it over the DualSense, I probably will not care that there is no haptic feedback or microphone or anything like that on the controller, because I probably will not use those gimmicks. But I hope you can turn off some of these features at least. The haptic feedback, I don't know if it's necessary. I just think it's another way to bring down the battery. Another thing that I'm really annoyed that they've continued to use is the light bar. I do not understand the purpose of the light bar. What was wrong with the little blinking light on the DualShock 3? See, the little blinking light that tells you what player you are, that's all you need, right? Or on the Xbox 360 controller, there was the circle, and the top left would light if you were player 1, the top right would light if you were player 2, and so on and so forth. You know, those are little things that is all you need. The Xbox One controller's light was simple as well. It just lit up the Xbox logo and that was it. It didn't need anything else. The Switch Pro controller doesn't have any lights. I mean, it does have the little blinking lights similar to the DualShock that tells you what player you are, I think. And, you know, there was I think someone did point out there's also a button on the Switch controller that lights up as well. I think it might be the home button or the photo button, but I've only ever seen that light up when I've plugged it into the computer, not on the Switch itself, so I don't know what that is all about. But there's a lot of things about the DualSense controller that I like. Mainly, it's the look of it, but its functions are worrying me because it might ruin the battery or bring down the battery a lot quicker, or it's not necessary. I mean, I'm probably going to have to end up using a wire through the controller again, like I do with the PS4. I don't understand. Anyway, so after the quick introduction or reintroduction of the DualSense controller, we moved on to another game, and this time they were talking about a new game called Returnal. Now, in general, I hate time travel in games. I hate time travel in any medium. I'm not a fan of time travel as a theme. Now, this game doesn't have time travel, but what it does have is it seems to have a very similar mechanic to that of Infinity Blade, where if you die, you start again, but it's like it's like Groundhog Day. But with this one, it's a little bit unique. So it seems like every time you respawn or you come back to life after you die, the game changes, I think. It's hard to tell. But I'll be interested to see more of it as the months go. I can't remember when it said it was coming out. But it just seems like another third-person shooter with some gimmicky theme to it. So until more of the game is revealed, I will stick to the opinion of I don't know what it is. It seems like a Groundhog Day kind of game where everything changes every time you die. That's a unique twist on it. But how will it play? How will it feel? We'll see more, I suppose, when it comes out. But I'm not that interested in it, to be honest. It doesn't do much for me. But we'll see. And I know it's nothing to do with time travel. I'm not. Maybe time travel was the word I wasn't looking for. It's like I don't like media like films and games where the theme is changing things to fix things in the future. Do you get what I'm saying? That's kind of like what Returnal seems to be. I don't know. Probably wrong. But that's why I don't like films like Back to the Future or Bill and Ted or funny enough, The Time Machine. Films like that and films like Click. Where I just don't like that as a theme. Where you've got to change things to fix things later on in another time. I don't know. That seems what Returnal is. Probably wrong, but I'll see more of it as the months go. The next game was... I thought and hoped it was going to be a Little Big Planet 4, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be a brand new platformer akin to that of the 3D Mario games, where you play as Sackboy. So basically, Sackboy got his own game. So, yeah, it's more Little Big Planet, I suppose, even though it's not Little Big Planet, it's just Sackboy. So I'll be interested to see more of that. There's not really much I can say about it. It's just another cutesy platformer. It looks good. Don't know if it'll be a first day purchase for me, but it looks alright, I guess. It's nice to see a new Little Big Planet game come out anyway. I mean, the last one was Little Big Planet 3, and that was a long time ago. That must have been, 2013 or 14, I want to say. And then after Sackboy, we got to have a look at that destruction game with the cars. I am kind of at odds with this one. See, I'm not the biggest multiplayer fan for a number of reasons, but the main reason is I don't really have anyone to play with. So there's not a massive fun factor in that regard. I've nobody to talk to on it. It's not... Okay, I guess it's not my biggest complaint because I can do without playing with people that I know. It doesn't bother me. But games like Fortnite, games like Apex Legends, games like hero shooters and all that, I kind of like them. I don't really. But The Destruction All Stars game looks like one of those multiplayer games that caters to those kind of players. It looks goofy. It looks, you know what I mean? It looks very tweeny. It looks like a load of, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn or speak bad, but it just looks like a game that's aimed towards teenagers that are into Fortnite, that are into Rocket League, that are into Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto Online. You know, it's goofy, it's daft, but maybe it's fun. I will try it out, but it looks like one of those games that's just going to have its own little fan base, and I really don't want to get into another one of them games. I sound negative so far. Sorry about that. The next one, now, this was one of the games that, apart from Spider-Man, this was one of the games that got me really, really interested. It's that game by Ember Lab. What was it called? Forgot the name of it. Kena. This was the first game that made me really interested. The visuals are absolutely gorgeous. Like, the graphics are stunning. There's a lot of lighting effects going on there. A lot of particle effects that just look incredible. It's very lush looking. It's colourful. Even though it's cartoonish, it's incredibly detailed. I don't know, how do you do that? Like, it's amazing looking. It's simple, but just so much going on. It's gorgeous. It's one of the nicest looking games on this video that I've seen, and I can't wait to see more of it. It looks stunning. Yeah, Kena is definitely one of my most anticipated games for the PS5. I can't wait to see more of it. I can't remember when they said it was coming out. You see, that I have not prepared for this podcast at all. I'm doing everything in real time. I'm actually just skimming through the YouTube video of the PlayStation 5 games reveal and the console reveal. I'm just skimming through them in order. So I'm doing everything very amateurly right now. I just really wanted to do this video, to do this podcast. So after Kena, which was very, oh god, loved the look of it, there came another game that I don't know what it is. It showed a bunch of humanoid dinosaurs that are all college students by the looks of it, or high school students, and it's called Goodbye Volcano High. And it didn't show much. In fact, it didn't really show anything. It showed a bunch of students talking, and then there's a bit where they're all sitting around a campfire all depressed and shit, and this girl puts a book in the fire called Goodbye Volcano High, and I wonder, is this more like a humanoid version of when the dinosaurs meet their maker with the meteor crash that wiped them out? Because it says it's the end of an era. Now, the dinosaurs in and of itself was an era that ended. So I'm curious to see more of it. It's out in 2021. It's bizarre. I don't know what kind of game it is. Is it going to be a game like Oxenfree? Is it going to be a game like Life is Strange? It doesn't seem like this is going to be a game that you quote unquote play. This looks like one of those games like Life is Strange, like Beyond Two Souls, like Heavy Rain, like the Telltale games, or like Oxenfree. Like simple games that focus more on the aspect of storytelling, given little gameplay aspects instead. So I'm curious to see more of it. It seems like it's going to be a depressing game. I'm guessing it's about the end of the dinosaurs, and these are humanoid dinosaurs, and I don't know, they're about to die or something. I really don't know, but I'm curious to see more of it. Then the next game was Oddworld Soulstorm. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Oddworld Soulstorm is the sequel to Oddworld New and Tasty. Yes, it is. It is a reimagining of Oddworld Abe's Exodus. I'm really happy this finally got revealed because I beat New and Tasty a few years ago and absolutely loved it. I was enjoying it so much that I actually went and rescued all the prisoners in that game. Something that I would never have done on the original. I like the original. I love cinematic platformers. They are my favourite type of platformer. The genre doesn't get enough love in my opinion. But Oddworld Soulstorm, Oddworld New and Tasty was the one I beat, but I never got to beat Oddworld's Abe's Odyssey. I've played a lot of it, but I never got to the end for whatever reason. But I wanted to try a New and Tasty instead, and I think I just got hooked on that quicker. I don't know why. Maybe it was the modern controls that drew me into it, which sounds like me betraying my love for cinematic platformers in general. But hey, New and Tasty is still a cinematic platformer, so it counts in my books. I can't play every game. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yeah. But anyway, Soulstorm appears to be a reimagining of Oddworld's Abe's Exodus, similar to that of New and Tasty, which is a reimagining of Abe's Odyssey. So yeah, really looking forward to this. It seems to be coming out in PS4 as well as PS5, as well as Microsoft Windows as well. So plenty of options to play it. I cannot wait. It looks really good, and I bet any money it's going to be solid, like really hard. So looking forward to that. Can't wait. Been definitely anticipating that for a good few years. After that, we got a look at, I think it was that Tokyo game, Ghostwire Tokyo. I'll be honest, doesn't interest me that much. It looks good, the visuals look nice, but the second it showed a first person perspective, I'm like, no. I also thought that it was going to be a traditional Japanese horror game set in Tokyo. I don't know why I thought that. It does have a lot of creepy elements to it, but I don't think it's a horror game. It doesn't seem like one. But it doesn't... There's nothing about it that is drawing me in. Even though it's designed by, or imagined by, Shinji Mikami, the same guy that gave us the original Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, and Vanquish, and The Evil Within. You know, he's been involved in a lot of amazing games. I want to believe this one will be just as good and another fantastic game to stick in his portfolio. So I'll give it a chance. I'll give it maybe another trailer. Maybe I'll see what the game is like on the next trailer. But as it stands, it doesn't look like something I'll be interested in immediately. But I'll see. I'll guess I'll look at the reviews when they come in and just go by that as a guideline, just to see what the game's kind of like. But I've got plenty of time to look at more of this game. But the fact that it's being published by Bethesda is also worrying me as well. They haven't had the best track record in the last couple of years, so I don't know. Hopefully it'll be good. I cross my fingers at that one. Next game that was brought up was another Annapurna game. No, is that the wrong company I'm looking at? I think I'm looking at the wrong company. Oh yes, this game. Sorry, I'm looking at this video and nobody's seen what I'm doing. This game is called Jet, The Far Shore. I'll be honest, when the logo came up, I couldn't make out what it said, but I think it says Jet. I don't know. It looks okay. It looks like one of them Zen games, but I don't really know what it's supposed to be. It's strange. It's really strange. It just looks like one of them zany space games. Like you do what you want. No, no, actually, it's probably not that. I'd say it's a very linear story, a very zen game, kind of like Journey or anything like that. It seems like you only control a rocket, so I'll be interested to see what that game actually is. I have no idea what it is. So I haven't really got much of an opinion on it. It looks weird, but it's coming out nearer Christmas, so we'll probably see more of it as the months go. I mean, we're 6, 7 months away from Christmas, so I definitely think we'll see more of it pretty soon. The next game they showed was Godfall. This was one of the first games they announced for the PS5. It doesn't do much for me, particularly. A lot of people are probably going to say it's a Dark Souls knockoff. I'm not getting that vibe at all. I'm not getting that vibe at all. It just looks like a hack and slash. But I reckon it's going to be one of those launch games that are going to be pretty meh when they come out. Kind of like Rise, Son of Rome. Where it's nothing special, but it looks good. But it doesn't do much for me. It looks like a hack and slash. Now, I love hack and slash. I love God of War. I love I don't love Devil May Cry, but I like it. I'm a big, massive Dynasty Warriors fan. I like mashing buttons. Gearbox is publishing it. It might be good. God, it might be fucking good. God knows. But it's one of those games where I'll probably skip, but it'll probably come bundled with the PS5 when I buy it. It's one of them games. I don't know. We'll see. The next game that was announced was another very stylish game called God damn it, the name Solar Ash. Solar Ash, I really like the style, but it looks like one of them kind of puzzle platformers. That's the vibe I'm getting from it. It looks like a puzzle platformer with very light combat, if there's any. I don't know. It probably will be good. It looks very unique. I will always give time to games that look weird and look simple. This game looks very stunning. But it's coming out in 2021, so yeah. I don't know. Looks good, but I don't really have much. It looks stunning, actually. Yeah, it does. I'm looking at more at it now. It looks really nice, but it looks like a puzzle platformer. I'm not really the biggest fan of them, but I'm open to see more of it. Hitman 3 got announced, and of course it did. We were waiting for that one for ages. Really excited for this one. Love that one of the missions is in Dubai, up on one of them buildings. My God, it looked amazing. I hope that what they do with Hitman 3 is they let you bundle in Hitman 1 and 2's missions into Hitman 3, like they did with Hitman 2. I mean, if you play Hitman 2, if you buy all the DLC for that game, you're practically playing Hitman 1's missions all over again, and then straight into Hitman 2. If you buy Hitman 2 and buy all the DLC for it, you don't need to buy Hitman 1. And I hope Hitman 3 is kind of the same, where it lets you play all the games on the one game. I mean, that's a packed game if it lets you do that. That's really well worth the money. That's a lot of content for the price you're paying. It's coming out in January. I can't wait for it. I actually need to get back and play Hitman 2 when I get a chance, because I haven't beaten it yet. In fact, I haven't even done any of the missions on Hitman 2 yet. I bought Hitman 1 first, and I played through all the missions, and then when I bought Hitman 2, I bought the gold edition or something like that, so it came with all the missions of Hitman 1, and it let you play all of them again with the trophies and achievements to be recollected as well, because it was a new game. It was counted as the Hitman 2 achievement system, so whatever. So I got through the first 3 levels of the Hitman 1 portion and I didn't continue. So I've still technically got Hitman 2 to play, even though I have it, and I've technically got it on my trophy list, but I haven't played any of the missions belonging to it. So Hitman 3, I don't know if I should wait on that to come out and hope that they put Hitman 1 and 2 content on it, or will I just beat Hitman 2 before Hitman 3 comes out and just jump straight in. God knows what I'll do, but either way, I can't wait for Hitman 3. I love Hitman. Absolutely love it. The next game they showed was, Astro Playroom. Honestly, these guys, I couldn't give a flying arse. Really couldn't care less. I didn't care about the original Playroom. I'm certainly not going to care about this one either. So, yeah. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to. I'm not really interested in it at all. The next game that they showed was another game that I am really looking forward to seeing more of, and I'll probably buy this day one. It's there's me forgetting the names again because I'm stupid and didn't go into the feckin' list of games before going into the actual Little Devil Inside. The trailer was so entertaining to watch. Such an entertaining trailer. Loved it. Loved every single minute of it. The visuals are so stunning. It looks funny as well, but the atmosphere that it showed, like it's strange. It's so weird. The characters look so cartoonish and simple, but the environments are just vast, huge, and just so detailed. So much detail in the environment and the atmosphere. It's so gorgeous. But I'm excited to see more of it. It looks like a Monster Hunter style of game with a bit of comedy thrown in. But what it's set in is really confusing to me. I mean, 1 minute it shows you this young lad in this wilderness exploring and all these caves, and then it shows you an old guy in a modern-esque style of town, a little village, you know, walking around talking to people, and then it goes back and shows you the young guy in the wilderness again exploring, and then it shows you the old guy in like what looks like a medieval battle. It really confused me. I'm like, what is this? What is this game? It's got dragons in it. It's got weird beasts, abominable snowmans I think I saw as well. What is this game? I want to see more. It looks so stunning, and I can't wait to see more of it. I can't remember when it's coming out. I think it's coming out this year. Maybe it's coming out next year. I don't remember. But either way, it looks amazing. Love it. The next game they showed was NBA 2K21. All I can say is that's a lot of sweat detail that they probably did not need to put on a video game character's face, but here we are. Let me show off those ray tracing sweat effects. Honestly, it's NBA, it's 2K. I honestly couldn't give a rat's monkey's arse about these games. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like NBA 2K as a game, but I see little reason in picking up the new one. Now, call me a hypocrite, I do buy a football game every year, but that's because I'm already a big fan of that sport. I do follow the updates, or the the roster updates. I do follow all of that, so it makes sense for me to be the chump that buys FIFA or Pro Evolution Soccer every year. That's me. But in terms of other sports, I don't need to buy another NBA game. I really don't, and I'm not going to put down 60 odd euro for an NBA game that's going to put shit ton of microtransactions in there. I'm very against that. I know it's not forced on me, but it kind of is when you think about it. NBA 2K, all those kind of games, the microtransactions are not forced on you, but they are, and what I mean by that is They design the game in a way that makes you grind for ages, in a way that psychologically mucks up with the player's head, because if you grind so much you get sick of it, and when you get sick of it you think, oh, I might as well just buy this little thing to give myself a little boost. And that's where they get you. They get you when you're bored. They get you when you're fed up, and I do not want to buy into that. So if I'm going to buy another NBA game, it's probably going to be NBA 2K21 when it's on sale, and it probably will be on sale quite quick. But yeah, enough of that. I've waffled way too long about an NBA game. The next game they showed was a game that I do remember the name of this time, because the theme song for it is absolutely stuck in my head, and it's Bug Snacks. What were these guys smoking? I mean, at the same time, I could probably ask what were they smoking when they made Octodad. But this is a very weird game, and definitely something I will probably buy. It's weird. I can't wait for it. I'll probably definitely buy it. It's coming out on PS5, PS4, and Windows PC. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's weird though. It's really fucking weird. Can't imagine that being any more than 30 quid. The next game they announced was... what was this again? Oh yeah, this was Death Loop. I'm not see, I haven't played much of Arcane's games, so, but I have played a touch of Dishonored, and I like Dishonored, but I haven't put much time into it, so I can't really say if I'm going to enjoy this one. It looks very much like an Arcane Studios Bethesda game. I wish there was a witness to this, because I was sitting watching the trailer. I didn't know anything about it. People did know about it, but I didn't have a clue. So this was essentially my first time looking at this trailer, first time seeing this game. I didn't get to see who made it. I missed that part when I was watching it. But watching the trailer blind, I said to myself out loud, this looks Bethesda as fuck. And sure enough, the Bethesda logo came up in the middle of the trailer, and I'm like, I fucking knew it. It looks like such a Bethesda game, and they're not on the greatest of terms with fans. However, aside from Fallout 76 being a fucking dead on arrival by the looks of it, okay, that's probably unfair. It wasn't dead on arrival, but it wasn't very well liked. I will say that much. But Arcane Studios games in particular are pretty good from the looks of things. They developed Prey, they developed Dishonored 2, they was involved in the development of Wolfenstein Youngblood, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, and now they're involved in the development of Deathloop. So it's probably going to be perfectly fine. It's probably going to be good. I'll imagine it will be good. But their games have this style that I haven't clung to yet. I haven't stuck myself to those games yet. I haven't stuck myself to Dishonored. I haven't stuck myself to Prey. You know, I haven't really played Wolfenstein yet. So those kind of games I haven't gotten to really experience. So maybe I'll have to play Dishonored 2, Prey, all those games before I appreciate Deathloop. Arcane Studios make their games a very specific way, very stylistic. So I'll see what the game is like going forward in a few months, but I'm probably going to play the other games that Arcane Studios have made just to get an idea of the kind of games that they make, because Deathloop looks like a very specific game that Arcane Studios would make and Bethesda Studios would publish. So yeah, as it stands, I'm not fully invested in it. but I am interested to see more of it. But I'll probably play their other games first before I get into it. Now for another juicy trailer that came out. This one took me by immense surprise. It's the trailer for Village, aka Resident Evil 8. People already knew about this, I think. People already knew about Village. Again, I didn't look into this. I've actually been quite blind, or I've been on quite a media blackout in terms of new games coming out for new consoles, probably because I've got such a ridiculous backlog. I've had no interest in looking at new stuff yet. So I've been playing old games and catching up on games that I haven't played yet, that I have completely avoided new games coming out. So this took me by surprise. But the second now, I guessed that it might have been Resident Evil. There is a part in that trailer where it cycles through all the different scenes. It just barely catches the Umbrella logo on one of the bits, on one of the scenes. Just, you've got to kind of, it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of scenario. But if you go back and look at the trailer again, near the end of the trailer, where it's cycling through all the scenes at quick jumps, you will see the Umbrella logo on a table or something like that. And I thought I seen that when I was watching it, but it was like a blink and you'll miss it type of thing. And I'm like, did I just see the Umbrella logo? Is this Resident Evil? I didn't know what it was. At first I thought it was actually God of War, because I just seen snow, I seen a log cabin, and all I heard was, and all I thought to myself was, well, God of War ended in the snow at Kratos' house. That's a log cabin. So I thought it was God of War until I seen a load of creepy elements. I'm like, it can't be God of War. Then I seen a guy with a gun. It's definitely not God of War. And then I seen a werewolf and I thought, what is this, Bloodborne 2? Castlevania? God knows. And then I seen Village come up and I'm like, oh, it's a new horror game called Village. That's interesting. And then bang, the Roman numeral 8 comes up and I'm like, holy shit. Oh my god. And sure enough, they've stuck to the third person or the first person perspective, which I was kinda off on with Resident Evil 7, but I can't remember if I said that I would have liked to see Resident Evil 8 go first person again. I think I might have guesstimated that they probably would, because they did the original style for so many games, then they did the third person style for so many games. It wouldn't make sense for them to do first person then go back to an older style. It's clearly obvious this is what Resident Evil's going to look like going forward for the next couple of installments. At least 3 installments are going to look like this. And I cannot wait for it. I absolutely loved Resident Evil 7. But one thing I hope is improved is the difficulty of the puzzles, if there are any. There should be. Because I love the puzzle aspect of Resident Evil. And I thought the puzzles in Resident Evil 7 were too easy. If you go back and look at my review, I went into quite a lot of detail about the difficulty of the puzzles. So I'm hoping that the puzzles in Resident Evil 8 are going to be much more challenging. And I obviously hope that it remains as scary as Resident Evil 7. Werewolves and beasts, I don't know if that's something I'll have to warm myself up to that. I much prefer the horror of actual people, psychos. I like that aspect. Like the Baker family in Resident Evil 7 were fucking crazy bastards. I was hoping that we would maybe see more like that. I mean, we probably will. I mean, look at the very end of the trailer. Chris Redfield looks like he's lost his shit. He looks like he might be the main antagonist. You're playing as Ethan again from the 7th one, so hopefully, I don't know. It looks really good though. I can't wait to see more of it. Now, the next game they took a look at was another weird game. This game was that space game with the little blonde girl, Pragmata. I don't know what this is. At first I thought maybe this game was what are they called? The people that made Limbo and Inside. I thought this was their third game. because the third game is going to take some sort of a space element to it. You know, I think this was years ago. I didn't know if this was going to be it. Then I thought it can't be because it's fully 3D, there's faces, there's detail. The people that made Limbo and Inside don't do that. I forgot their name, I'm blanking on their name. But Pragmata looks strange. Looks very strange. This is another one of these games where I can't wait to see more of it. These are mostly just reveal trailers. So, I don't know, it's definitely unique. I've always got time for unique, weird games. So, hoping to see more of that in the coming months. The next game that was announced was definitely something I was expecting on this event, and of course it's Horizon 2 Forbidden West. I loved Horizon Zero Dawn, absolutely loved it. I gave a brief review on it, I think, on my YouTube channel. A very, very brief review. It was an on-camera review, spur-of-the-moment review. Couldn't talk any... I just couldn't give it any more compliments than I already did at the time. You know, I could have waffled on for ages. Loved Horizon Zero Dawn. It was definitely one of my favourite games of 2017. I think it came out. Just fantastic open world exploration game. Stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. I haven't even played it on my PS4 Pro yet to see what it's like in 4K. I've yet to do that. My first time playing it was on a base PS4 on a regular 1080p TV, and it looked good then. I can't wait to see what Horizon Zero Dawn looks like in 4K on my PS4 Pro, and I also can't wait to see what Horizon 2 Forbidden West looks like on a PS5. That trailer looked absolutely stunning. Those wide, far shots of her traversing on that, can't remember what the name of it is, but the beast that she's riding on, the whatever it is, that shot, I hope that was like a kind of gameplay shot, if you catch my drift. Like, I hope that those visuals are some of them are in-engine visuals, because that game already looks stunning. I can't wait to see what this game looks like on PS5. It's going to look incredible. I guarantee this game will be the best looking PS5 game for a long time. Oh god, I can't wait for it. I actually, before I move on to the next game, I actually skipped on a game that got announced at the very beginning of the video, and I don't know how I missed it. In fact, you know what, I can probably see why I missed it. It was Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to PS5. Of course, why not? A lot of people are annoyed about it. A lot of people are annoyed that it was Grand Theft Auto 5 and not Grand Theft Auto 6. To be brutally honest, I was not expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 in the slightest. And I'm not going to expect that for another year at the very least. Maybe 2 years before we see that game. Because it'll get announced and then it'll take 2 years to come out. So if it's going to come out within the next 5 years, I reckon it'll be 2022 when we first see it. But 2021 could be the reveal, like the logo or the setting, something like that, like a teaser website. That'll be when we first see glimpses of Grand Theft Auto 6. But Grand Theft Auto 5 coming out on PS5 and Xbox Series X is genius. It's absolutely genius. People are annoyed about it, but see, if you think about this, right? Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to modern consoles or next gen is genius, because if you're Rockstar Games and your biggest thing, the biggest thing that has ever been created in the world of entertainment is your game, why would you not bring that to the next generation? Why would you dump it on current generation? They have never brought their games 2 generations in. They've never done that. They've barely brought their games 1 generation in. In fact, I don't even think they've done that either. Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 Now, I'm not including PC versions, because PC doesn't really have a generation, but I digress. Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 were all on the PS1 generation. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City and San Andreas, and Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories were all on the PS2 generation. They never came to the Xbox 360, PS3, save for San Andreas. That was remastered, but that was based on the mobile version. That was rotten version. Then they released Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 got moved from the very end of... It came out on the very end of the Xbox 360, PS3 generation, the same year that the PS4 and Xbox One were coming out. And a year later, they brought that into the Xbox One and PS4. And that made sense because the online portion of that game is huge. Absolutely huge. And it's the biggest thing right now in regards to the world of entertainment and gaming. So, of course, if you're Rockstar Games, you're not going to sit on that. You're going to move that to the next generation and bring a whole new skew of players to play Grand Theft Auto Online. That is absolutely genius. And I can only guarantee that they're going to expand upon that once GTA 6 is announced. And as much as I really don't like or care for Grand Theft Auto Online, I do respect its popularity. I do respect how big it's gotten. I do respect that because no other company has done it like this before. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the biggest entertainment thing ever created. Why would you not bring that to the next generation? This isn't like Skyrim. Skyrim was good. Skyrim was brilliant. But it didn't need to come to every single platform. It really didn't. I mean, I'm not complaining that it's there. I mean, it's nice to have options, but there are games that should have just stayed where they were. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is a game that doesn't need to stay where it is. That can go to the next generation, and I will not be sad about that. I will gladly pay for the PS5 version of Grand Theft Auto 5 again, just to play through that story on the next gen console. And I'm curious to see what they'll do with the PC version of Grand Theft Auto 5. If they will release an update for that increases the visuals for that game. That'll be interesting to see. But anyway, enough waffling on about Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's get on to the next part of the video, which is probably what we all came to see, what we all watched the video for. At first, I thought that it wasn't going to happen. I didn't think that the PS5 was going to be revealed because all they kept talking about was games, which is okay, but I thought they were going to leave the PS5 reveal for another week or two or another month. But then I was starting to think we're pretty close to the launch of these systems and you still haven't shown your console yet. You've got to show it on this video. And sure enough, it's funny. When the Horizon Zero or the Horizon Forbidden West's trailer ended, I don't know what happened to my feed. I don't know what happened to the stream I was watching, but it kind of just went back to the image of the DualSense controller, but I could hear talking in the background with no movement on the video, and I thought maybe that was the end of the video, so I turned it off, and I thought Horizon Forbidden West was the last thing to show. And then one of my friends posted on Facebook his takeaways from the PS5 reveal, and then he wrote at the very end, "The console looks sexy as fuck." And I went, what? Was the console revealed? So I went back and I skimmed through the whole video until I found the end of the Horizon trailer. I replayed it, and sure enough, there was one final portion that I didn't watch. So I decided so I watched it. And yeah, I'm just going to get straight to it. Wow. The PS5, I'm probably going to regret this because I'm a massive PlayStation fan. I've always loved PlayStation. I've loved PlayStation ever since the PS1. Yes, I have played and owned. I own an Xbox original, but I've barely played it. I own a GameCube, but I've barely played it. I own a Wii, but I've barely played it. I have had the 360. I got the 360 before the PS3. The Xbox 360 was my baby from 2007 right through to 2013. I loved that console. That was my console. That was my preferred console that whole generation. Yes, I had a PS3 twice in that generation, but the Xbox 360 was always the console I kept going back to. But when the PS4 was announced, I couldn't not get like the Xbox One was announced, and it had all this controversial crap that they were talking about. You know, the price point and the DRM and all that, and it just put me off. Even if they were going back on it and changing it and doing a 180, it still put me off. I didn't get an Xbox One for a whole year after it was announced. I went straight into the PS4. Now, I've played so many consoles over the last 7 years, but I've always went back to PlayStation. The PS4 is my number one console this generation. And even though I've played plenty of Xbox games, and I have an Xbox One X, and I played about 3 games to completion this year on it, I still keep going back to PlayStation, even though the Xbox One X is an absolute beast. An absolute beast. Yeah, I still find myself going back to PlayStation. So, with the PS5, as much as I'm kind of excited about the Xbox Series X, I will get it eventually. When, I don't know. God knows I could get both systems at the same time. But with the PS5, even though I think even though I'm going to just buy it anyway, because I feel this loyalty to PlayStation, I have to say, and I hate to say it, but the PlayStation 5 is ugly as sin. I don't like the look of it. I think it's too big. It's too bulky. It's huge. And someone actually made a Photoshop. Not Photoshop, but what they done was they took pictures of all the last 2 generations of consoles that are sitting vertically. They put them all next to each other, and they used the USB slot for scale and the disk drive for scale, and they compared them all, and they all they all equaled their respective dimensions. So when he put the PS5 in amongst that with the USB slot for scale, it seems to show that the PS5 is the biggest, largest console of the last 10, 15 years. And it's ugly. It's so ugly. I don't like the look of it. It's so ugly. It looks like, when I first seen it, I thought it was a joke. I thought they were going to turn around and say, nah, this isn't what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It looks like a concept art. It looks like a concept image of what the PS5 is going to look like. It looks like one of those designs that people make. This is what the PS5 is going to look like, but even when it's sitting on its side, when it's sitting flat, it looks ridiculous. I don't like the look of it. I'm sorry. I think it looks too big, too bulky. It's going to look so stupid underneath my TV with all the other consoles that I've got. I've got a unit that my TV sits on. It's 40 inches. I've got 2 shelves, and I've got like 2 consoles on each shelf, right? Well, it's supposed to be 2 consoles on each shelf, but I keep taking one upstairs and attaching it to my smaller TV up here. But and they all look neat. I have them all neatly laid out. You know, I've got the PS4 Pro on the top left of the shelf. I've got my fiance's PS4 on the right side of that shelf. I've got, I had my Xbox One X on the bottom left of that shelf, but that's up here at the minute. And her Xbox One on the bottom right. And they're all neatly placed. It's a black shelf, black TV, black consoles. Everything's black. My decor in my house is all black. My fireplace is black. My mantelpiece is black. My bookshelf where I keep all my DVDs are black. Everything is just a certain way that I have my house. So when I put this thing on the bottom shelf of my TV, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. And the worst part about it is that thing is going to gather dust like a bastard. And you're going to see it, and it's going to look horrible. And I'm not looking forward to constantly cleaning that thing. I really don't like the look of it. And something... I'm praying that they release another colour scheme just before it comes out. I hope they do. I really don't want this thing sitting on the bottom of my shelf. I mean, I sound harsh. And truth be told, I am being harsh. That's a horrible design. It looks ridiculous. People say it looks futuristic, it looks modern. No, it doesn't. I thought it was going to look smaller for some strange reason. But it looks like a router. You know, it looks like a gaming computer, and gaming computers are not aesthetically pleasing. If you look at them, they're too bulky. This thing looks ugly. But I'll probably grow to like it. I thought the PS3 was ugly, but that at the very least was black. All my consoles were black. I know the Xbox 360 was white. I hated that that was white. I jumped immediately and got the black one and sold the white one. I just prefer black systems. They just look neater with my entertainment centre. Like, everything just looks better when it's black. And black games consoles have always looked visually pleasing because they're just, I don't know, they're just visually appealing. And this thing just doesn't look visually appealing. But, having said that, I go with function over aesthetics. And if it works, and if it does its job, if there's no problems with the software when it comes out, if there's no problem with the fan or hardware, then I'm fine with that. It'll look horrible, and I swear to God, it's... You know, I mean, for years I've never been shy of admitting to family members and guests coming to my house that, yes, I play video games, these are my consoles, and I have never shied away from showing them off because they look tidy, they look neat, they look nice, sitting where they're sitting. This is going to be one of those situations where it's going to be like 1999 again, and it's going to be like, I don't want anyone seeing this. It looks ridiculous. But, like I said, function over aesthetics. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be easily ignored once I have it. But this thing is going to be huge. But, with that said, I like all the other little bits that they're bringing with it. I like the fact that they're giving people the option to go all digital. They're releasing an all digital version of this. I like that they're bringing out a pair of headphones with it on release, a webcam, or an HD camera, a media remote, which is just perfect for me. But if my remote control can control the console, see, my PS4 is HDMI linked to the TV, so I'm able to control the PlayStation 4's menu with my TV remote control. And if I can do that on the PS5, I probably won't need to buy the media controller. However, there's a few features on the PS4 when watching DVD Blu-rays I can't get into the menus using the TV's remote control, so maybe buying this, and yeah. What I'm also happy about is that this has a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player as well, which is brilliant because I've only just started kind of getting into the idea of watching movies in 4K now that I have a fairly decent internet connection that can stream content that highly. I appreciate it more when I'm watching Netflix in 4K. I appreciate it more because it does look a lot better. So I'm really excited to actually start buying Black Label 4K Blu-rays, films and TV shows. So that'll be an exciting aspect about the PS5 as well. Even though I can already get it on the Xbox One X, I don't know what it is. I just much prefer to watch all my films on the PS5 or PS4 in this case. So the PS5 will be no different. But yeah. I'm quite excited. I'm excited about the PS5 overall. I am excited about it. I just think it looks ugly. I just think it looks Horrible. And I'll guarantee there's going to be a thinner version of it in 2 years' time. But yeah, that's overall the presentation. Oh, did I mention Demon Souls? If I didn't mention Demon Souls, I probably should have. I didn't mention Demon Souls. If I didn't mention Demon Souls, I'm going to mention it now. I was very much anticipating this because I missed out on Demon Souls. In fact, I've barely even kept up with Dark Souls. To be fair, in fact, I've never beaten a Dark Souls game. I'm just going to say it right now. I've never beaten a Dark Souls game. I've never beaten Bloodborne. I've never beaten Sekiro. I've not beaten Neo. I haven't played Neo 2. I can't beat these games. I suck at them. But it doesn't stop me from enjoying the absolute hell out of them. I love all of these games. I love the way they're designed. I love the difficulty spikes. I love that you have to learn and learn from your mistakes. I love that you have to memorize your steps every minute, because if you die, you've got to go back and pick up the things you lost. You've got to really pay attention to what you're doing in those games. And I love Dark Souls. I love all those games because of their challenging aspects. I love all, and the visual aspects as well. I think they're absolutely stunning games. But I haven't beaten them. I haven't gotten to the end of any of them. I'm on the second half of Bloodborne, the part where the Red Moon has came up. I'm on that part of the game now, but that was 5 years ago since I last played it. But that's where I am. Dark Souls, I always get to the part where I'm ringing the first bell, and I never seem to find the desire to keep going for whatever reason that is. Dark Souls 3, I kind of just jumped into randomly. I'm now on that very gothic, snowy looking city. That's where I am now. I've never played Dark Souls 2 because so many people have told me not to. So many people have told me that it's the weakest of the trilogy. So many people have told me that it's the worst. But I probably won't see that if I played it. But I haven't played it because I wanted to leave that for... I kind of wanted to leave it until I beat Dark Souls 1. But truth be told, you don't really need to play those games in any order, so that's comforting at least. Obviously, I haven't played Sekiro because that's a game that I made a purchase of in the last 6 or 7 or 8 months, or whenever it came out. I've barely played it. I played the first part of it, the tutorial, the first section, but I said I would put it aside because I actually had other games in the backlog that I was in the middle of beating. I have played Demon Souls. The first time I played Demon Souls was when I first discovered PlayStation Plus, and they had it on PlayStation Plus in 2012 or going into 2013. That was my first time playing Demon Souls, and I only dabbled in it because I had no interest in actually playing through the game. I just wanted to see what it was like because I knew that Demon Souls was the precursor to Dark Souls, and I just wanted to see what it was like compared to Dark Souls. So I have no history of playing Demon Souls. So when I heard that Blue Point Games were remaking another game that was beloved or something like that, they said something along the lines of their next remake is going to be much bigger or something like that, and I'm like, what could they possibly remake that really needs one? And a lot of people's first guess was Demon Souls, and sure enough, that is what it was. And the first when I was watching the trailer, I thought it was do you know the people that made Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian? That developer, I think it's Tokyo, I'm not sure. When I seen the trailer for Demon Souls, the first couple of shots, I thought, is this the new Beauty and the Beast project that company's making? The next installment from that trilogy of games. And then I seen the dead guy being carted off by whatever that was. And the second I saw that, I knew that it was Demon Souls because everyone knows that trailer, everyone knows that intro, and I'm so excited to see what Blue Point does with a Demon Souls game, with a Souls game, because it's always been Bandai Namco, it's always been From Software. From Software, as from my reckoning, isn't touching Demon Souls remastered or remake, whatever it is. I don't think From Software are touching this. I could be wrong. In fact, let me just find out. It does. I think. I think this is purely a Blue Point Games project because I don't think I've seen From Software's name in that. But obviously, if you didn't know, Demon Souls is the precursor to Dark Souls. If it wasn't for Demon Souls, we wouldn't have Dark Souls. But Demon Souls wasn't very widely available for Western audiences. And the reason is quite simple. The president, Shuhei Yoshida, former president of Sony Computer Entertainment, whatever that was called, he said it himself. He said that when he first looked at Demon Souls, he thought the game was going to be terrible. In his words, this is crap. He thought it was going to be bad. He thought it was going to be shite. He didn't want it shipped over to America. And as a result, the game didn't sell that well. It eventually did ship overseas, but it didn't get much attention. It wasn't until Dark Souls came out where it really started to get attention. And it's a shame. But what I also find quite interesting is that Shuhei Yoshida said just before the Demon Souls trailer, "Here is a game near and dear to my heart." And I'm like, is there something I missed in the middle? Like, because at the start you said this game looks terrible. Now, you did admit that you dropped the ball on it, but how did it go from a game you thought was crap to a game you dropped the ball on and admitted to a game that you now think is near and dear to your heart? Did you learn to love it? I really would love to know. But yeah, Demon Souls is definitely a game I'm really, really looking forward to getting. Despite the fact I've never beaten any of the Souls games, I don't care. I love playing them. You don't need to beat a game to have a favourite. I don't believe in that. You can play a game right up until the end and never beat it, but still call it one of your favourites because you played the game. One of my favourite Fallout games is Fallout New Vegas. In fact, it's probably my favourite Fallout game. Maybe. It was my second favourite Fallout game. But anyway, I love that game. I've put so many hundreds of hours in Fallout New Vegas. So many hours. I've played it twice on both Xbox 360 and PC, and both times were hundreds of hours. But I've never, ever beaten it. And I refuse to because once you roll credits, you cannot continue. Now, granted, in the PC version, you can use a mod that lets you continue the game after you roll credits, but it doesn't feel right to me. But anyway, yeah. So I think I missed Demon Souls. I'm not sure if I did, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, so that was the PlayStation's reveal. I think I went on as long as the reveal itself, probably longer. I'm really excited about the PS5 overall. It's got a great chunk of games coming out between holiday and next year, so I think we're going to be okay in that regard. The only thing I hope is that all these games are actually going to be at least good, and there's no stinkers on launch. I don't think there'll be stinkers because we've got Spider-Man coming out in holiday 2020, which is just great in and of itself. What a great launch title for the PS5. What a fantastic launch title. That game is going to sell millions within the first month because it's going to be a launch title for the PS5. That's genius. And then next year, we've got Grand Theft Auto 5. The PS5 is already off to a fantastic start in regards to not only exclusive, but games in general. So the PS5 has got nothing to worry about. And the Xbox One X has got nothing to worry about. I'm really looking forward to both of these consoles. I will not be doing an Xbox video or an Xbox podcast because at the time I was not interested, to be honest. But now I'm very much interested. I'm starting to get next gen fever, and I'm delighted to say that I'm so happy that the PS4 or the PS5 is going to be backwards compatible with all PS4 games. So I've got that to look forward to as well. I don't need to throw out any of my games. So that's brilliant. So overall, I'm happy. I think the console looks like crap. I think it looks terrible. But I'm still excited to get it. I'm still excited to have it. I'm still excited to play games on it. I love the feeling of getting a new console. Even if it ends up being a little bit problematic in the first couple of months, I still get a buzz out of buying it. My only hope is that it doesn't have any major problems that will cause people to have to send the game console back and Sony have to recall all of them, like the Xbox 360. I hope to God we don't have a problem like that. That's the last thing we need, especially with the price of this. That's another thing we need to look forward to as well. We need to see what this thing is going to cost. My prediction is that it's going to cost €500 for the physical version, for the disc version, and about €450 for the digital version. That's my prediction. The lowest I'll go is €400, but we'll see where they go. The PlayStation, apart from the PS3, the PlayStation has always had a fairly fair price. So I'm quite looking forward to it. Yeah, I think that's it. I might have missed one or two trailers. I probably have. But I hope I covered most of what's important anyway. So with that said, I guess it's time for me to say cheerio. Thanks for taking time to listen. This has been Dave talking to you on GB Gaming, where video games come first. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope I'm going to improve. Hopefully I have a glass of water next time because my throat is drying up so bad. And that's it. Thanks for watching or listening, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again, and have a good day.